Tent for these good folks.
I hope I don't get the flu this year.
I hope I don't get the flu this year. What about you, Jazzy Jeff?
Do you get flu shots?
Do I? Yes, I do. The only reason why I do is because I come in contact with a lot of people.
Do they work?
I've never gotten the flu, knock on wood.
Really?
Never.
I've
Really?
gotten the flu twice, and it sucks ass. I got it last year.
Dude, I get
Fucking flu.
I get the flu like every 2 or 3 years, like really bad.
I'll really think about getting a flu shot
Well,
this year.
I'll tell you this. Reed, he got the flu shot last year, and he still got the flu, but it wasn't as bad as it could have been.
So, like, man, is that like people who don't vaccinate their kids and they're bringing back shit like the measles and the mumps and shit? You got kids. Does that bother you? Does that freak you out that you know that your kids could get like a disease that's been dormant for like 100 years just because people don't vaccinate?
I mean, I know someone that was going that they took their kids to get their first set of vaccinations or whatever, and they said they did their research on a couple of them, and their kid will not get it. The doctor ain't gonna make you give it to them. They're gonna try to talk you into it. I mean, they make vaccinations for a reason. I know a lot of people that don't believe in the flu shot.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, yeah, that's just the government's way of trying to poison you to control the population, whatever. You know what, man? Here's my philosophy on death. We're all going to roll one day.
We all got to do it one day.
That's it.
All right, we're going to get to some sports talk, ladies and gentlemen. We're here to talk about vaccinations and bullshit. We're here to talk about football. We're here to talk about basketball. We're here to talk about sports ball. What you writing, Asher? You writing a poem?
Mm-hmm. I was just writing randomness, like, mention, talk about.
All right, cool. So we got Brother Asher, Brother Jasen. Both have done episodes separately. Finally got them together. Y'all play football together.
Yeah.
Y'all
Tried.
did?
Warriors. Hey, dude, that was actually like, when you look back in the history of it, that was like golden years for Warriors.
It was. I had a good time.
After my class, and then like 2 or 3 classes before yours, that was like the golden era.
So what are you saying? My class sucked?
No, I said, I graduated after you, man. From my class to a couple of classes, 3, 4 classes before yours. 3 classes.
My senior year, we only went 3-7, though.
Yeah, we went 7-3 the next year, and then 8-2 the year before that.
Better than the homeboy that was on that paper crying.
Oh, God, yeah. What are you crying about? He's used to losing. They celebrated when they beat Academic Magnet. They celebrated. The coach had everyone sign a football and all this kind of stuff. A friend of mine's girlfriend is a teacher there. She told me all this. She's like, it's so sad. There was one kid before they beat Academic Magnet that was on the football team that experienced a win.
Didn't they just have a kid that make
Like what?
All-Stars? Yeah,
How?
the North Star.
How?
Wasn't it Trey?
How?
Whatever All-Star just got done playing at Coastal last weekend, the North-South game or whatever. Trey.
They had someone play in North South game.
Yeah. Welcome on. Trey the Trey Davis. Lyman.
I'm mind blown by that one. Really?
Yeah,
a
man.
lineman.
A lineman from
Good for him.
That's funny.
from good old Walk-A-Mall.
Let me make sure I get these camera angles right.
Good for him.
You live as a warrior,
Die as a warrior.
you die as a warrior.
Hey, man. You know.
So it's funny, man. How do you see? I didn't do that. I didn't play like high school sports or nothing like that.
Awesome.
I didn't get to see. Well, I mean, I didn't get to see. How does it feel to like you feel like you left the program in decent shape,
Yeah.
and then you walk away and you
We were
see
7-3, had a home playoff game, tied for first in the region. Yeah.
Yeah, like see, y'all left the program in good shape. How does it feel to just see what it is now and like?
It's sad. It's
Y'all
had
wanna
ups
start-
and downs.
You want to step in and start taking shit over?
No, they had one wave after that was really good, like Jamal's little brother, John, and then when they had the big lineman, they had T, like they were really good. And Bourne was a good coach and knew how to like work them.
Let me tell you, man. Football on the south end is not like what you have on the north end. I mean, just walk them all, Paulie's Island area, and I might get hateful comments or something for it, but they are a golf, tennis,
Yeah, as of late.
somewhat of a baseball, softball area. Kids, man, they don't want to get out there in the summertime and practice football and lift weights and commit to it. You know, I mean, we live at the beach, man. Kids would rather go to the ocean.
Not me.
What was the downfall of Waccama's program after we left? Do you remember how badass that middle school team was? Or it wasn't middle school, but it was like the B team?
Yeah.
Because it was all the same school. All of them wanted to be trap stars. All the athletes wanted to be trap stars. And half of them dropped out in like 10th grade. Like, and that's real.
No,
Like,
that's a big problem.
Or anything,
that's a
but that
big
was
problem in
huge
Marlboro County.
That was
That's a huge problem in Marlboro County right now.
because Brown, one thing, me and Brown had our issues at times, but Brown cultivated a squad with
he
them.
did.
They were killing people
yeah.
like 60-0 every game. You'd have like 3 people with 3 touchdowns.
I mean, just take a look at what you got. You got Georgetown. I don't think they did too well this year.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Waccamaw. Not sure what they're. I mean,
You got Carver's Bay.
well, Carver's Bay did. I mean, all right. So take a look at Carver's Bay, but then you take a look at Myrtle Beach High School. I mean, Myrtle
got
Beach
Myrtle
High.
Beach.
Yeah, I mean, they mold their players.
They cultivate.
Whoa.
They breed and cultivate success, and that's what it comes down to run a program. Is like you have to get that. Once Waccamaw started losing, it's hard to get people involved in the program because it's like, I don't want to go play and lose. But if we had ran off like a bunch of seasons, winning 8 games, you would have had people want to jump on that bandwagon.
Yeah, well, that's what I was just about to say. There's a lot of people that are coming from other schools that are going to Myrtle Beach because they want to get an opportunity to be watched. You know, like Brandon, Randy Sinclair's son.
Mm-hmm.
He could have went to Socastee, you know, and done shit, but he wanted to go to Myrtle Beach, so he's get the best opportunity that he can get. Right? I mean, they're doing that for a lot of schools around here. Am I wrong with that or?
Well, no, you're right. I mean, it's just one of those things. If I'm not mistaken, I mean, you have to get special permission to go to a different school outside of your area.
Yeah.
And I believe you see a lot of kids doing that because they want to get noticed.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got a good ball player that plays for St. James, okay, and St. James goes 0-10. I mean, who's gonna notice them?
So is that why LeBron James wants to get out of Cleveland?
Well, 2 things. What you were talking about, how was it? Like, me and Jason have known each other since then, and it doesn't matter if we don't see each other for years. We're still friends.
Yeah.
And, like, catch up because, like, the thing that is football is really the ultimate fraternity. Sports are the ultimate fraternity. But really football because there is a place for everyone. Like, really, when it comes down to it, doesn't matter if you're, like, speedy, little dude, speedy. Doesn't matter if you're big, slow. Doesn't matter if you're like, just smart and got an arm. If you got a leg. I mean, you know what I mean? There's like a spot for all these different kinds of people, like in walks of life. So it's like this. Football is the ultimate melting pot, and you take your lumps together, get your ass whooped together, and you win together, and like you've been through. Football is the ultimate fraternity. Like, it really is.
I'll agree with that. Now, do you feel like I don't know so much. I don't know if I've heard you say this or not say it as much. But do you feel like you'll ever coach? You feel like you'll ever try, like when the kids get a little older and you got a little more time or whatever? Do you feel like you'll ever go back to like? Because I know you do little small coaching shit now. I don't know if it's like basketball or baseball, right?
I do baseball, and I mean, I'll help out with basketball, but you got to remember one thing, man. The only thing I know about basketball is you're supposed to dribble and shoot.
I don't know shit about basketball.
I don't know
dick about it.
fundamentals
It's my first love.
Yeah, I know. We're gonna get that for sure. I know you love basketball, but that's why I was asking. Like, do you feel like y'all may eventually have the opportunity to be like, all right, this was a program that I loved and blood, sweat, and tears, blah 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 for however many years. I need to see something different happen here. Do you feel like you ever like try to step in and do something for the program, help them out at all?
How? Like, no.
Well, see, you take it. Yeah, well, you take a look at go after the years I graduated. I'd go back and watch games here and there, go to a homecoming game, and then you see guys on the sideline that or not, they're not teachers or anything at the school. They're out there helping.
Yeah.
They're probably volunteering, whatever you want to call them. I don't know, man. It's tough to get involved with something when you repeatedly see the same record over and over and over again. Now, would you like to try to like pep people up to come out and play?
Yeah.
Just like Asher just mentioned just a little bit ago. If your high school team has gone 0-10, 2-8 for the last, 5 or 6 years, you coming up through middle school, when you get to high school, I know a lot of people are like, why do I want to play football? We suck.
Yeah, this ain't fun.
I'd rather go home and play video games or do whatever, instead of trying to help out. But let me tell you, on the other hand, too, you get those same kids, they're the first ones sitting in the stands bitching, oh, our team sucks. You know what? Hey,
Do something.
There you go.
Exactly. See, one thing like we were talking about, we've gone 8-2 together. We've gone 3-7 together.
Yeah. I mean,
You know what I mean?
yeah. What can you do?
Like
Well, so
we've
much.
taken our lumps and we've won together as well. But like it took those kind of kids that were willing to do that. It took those kind of kids that were willing to do that, and that's what he was alluding to is a huge problem here. Is it's more like country club now.
Oh,
It was a
100%.
little different then because it's been built up so much.
It is. No, I mean, hey, man, when I was in high school, I remember high school being 7th grade through 12th.
Yeah.
7th through 12th when I went to Waccamaw.
Now there's like 3 schools that represent
Yeah.
that period. For like 6 through 12, there's 3 schools. When we were there was 7 through
Is there that many more people now, or
Oh,
is
yeah.
it just
No, it's just that many more people.
damn?
And don't get me wrong, like the B team and stuff, or from what I understand, the B team down that way is pretty decent. But once you start getting up, I mean, because I think B team, you can't start practicing until like after school starts. You
Yeah.
know, high school varsity football, they want a commitment. They want you in the weight room. Hell, they're probably already starting to lift weights now. Go ahead.
Coach Lee didn't make us lift enough. Yeah.
They encourage you to. I mean,
They didn't instill like a program like that.
no. Now, summertime, I do remember them holding workout sessions, in the morning and the evenings. Didn't really go to them a lot.
I did weightlifting when I went to Latta. Like Latta was pretty strong about making you do stuff like that. And that I wasn't even playing football at this point. I was just that was a class we took, was weightlifting. And they were pretty strong about that. And my man going back to Christian school, we played football. Like, our coach was like 70 years old. I mean, we were doing like 6 inches and running laps. It was all we were doing, But I wish that I don't know. I wish I would have played more football. I wouldn't have, though, because I was already doing music at that point, and I didn't really give a shit. But I wish I would have been able to like have this outlook on it that you guys have. Like, you get to see, oh man, like this ain't how we did it. Like old boy in Friday Night Lights. Like, wait, well, you gonna get you one of them?
Dude, see, I think that would have been the most awesome thing to be a part of an area where that's what it was, where that was the expectation, and that path had already been shown.
Yeah.
And so where where you have to kind of live up to that. That's the one thing that like Waccamaw never has. The Waccamaws, I think they have one playoff win throughout the course of the school. They beat Cainhoy, I think.
Yeah.
Back in like 90.
That was the year.
5, something like that.
Yeah, that was the year before my junior. Well, no, that'd have been my
That's
sophomore
before I
year.
was on the team.
Yeah. So, but I'll tell you this, man. Being, raised down in Paulie's, good team or not, football's
Yeah.
best thing that I ever did. I mean, just because it.
Really?
I
That's
think.
awesome, man.
No, I'm being serious because, I mean, you think about it. I was the type of kid when I was back in high school, I didn't really know a lot of people, so I didn't really do much. I'd go to practice, go home. I would just stay in my house. My
Yeah.
senior year, that's when I kind of like expanded out a little bit more. Dude, I was a big boy before I started playing football. Sophomore year playing JV football, stepped on the scales at least 3 335, 340, 350 around there. I was a big mofo.
Dude, that's like close to where I'm at now.
Well, I'm just saying, but I was
Shit.
a 10th grader, and I got
That's a big 10th grader.
I got down to as low as like
That was the reason why we were actually pretty good. Like during that era, we had some big linemen.
yes sir.
Like we really did. Like I know one of my friends would bitch all the time. Come on, get after you all. That was our tailback. But when you like look at it, we had some size, man. Like really, like with you the year before. I'll use my senior year for example. We had like Bruce, Nate, Jarvis. Like
Jarvis.
all of them were over 290. We had like 3 dudes on the team that were like one was over
That's
3,
stout for
one
high
was like
school, man.
298, one's like 290. The year before he was like on the line as well. Like we had
That's
some
like
size,
Dallas Carter
man.
size right there.
Dude, we had some size. I mean, holes, did appear for Jamal.
Old Jarvis.
So I got a question.
Jarvis.
I got a question. In high school football, are steroids a thing?
Back then, I don't think it was.
I would say maybe yeah. Like if you're in a place like I'm not going to say I'm just going to use a name. Like if you're in a place like Dillon or some shit like that.
Yeah.
I would say like maybe, like or if you're in some like highly competitive 3 or 4. The thing is, we never got tested. I mean, you could have. Like, you could have been, if you wanted to, you could have gone out there like that dude off the program and been roided up as all hell, and you never got tested. I mean, that wasn't even a thing. So, I mean, if
Yeah.
you wanted to, you could have. And that was the 90s, so, I mean, that was, like, the culture, and I won't say, like, that shit didn't exist. But I never saw it. The only time I ever saw it was someone that we went to high school with who didn't even play sports. I did.
See,
It depends also on what level, because I can't say that now, because if you want to talk about Anderson Dion and Dion, and was it Anderson Dion and Dione or something like that, there was 2 different kinds, and people would mix them and it would be called like an animal stack. I knew a couple of people who did that. I had one friend that went through a program, and right before he like went through his tryouts, like
Yeah.
he had gone to another school the semester before, did that, and he came back Paulus, and I'm not put up 420. When he left, he was a strong boy. He was a strong, athletic dude. And came back from he left. He was probably running like 4.8, something like that. He would have been like an outside linebacker. Was putting up probably about 335, 340. And came back and put up I spotted him 420 during Christmas break. I was playing ball at the Citadel.
Yeah.
And it just started getting lifted because like I was saying earlier, our coach really didn't push lifting a whole lot. That was when I started lifting, was like when I got to college and was part of that program. And I was like, I'll stand back here if you want, and it makes you feel better. But he put up 420 when he came back, and we went back to the gym, and Brett dunked like 4 or 5 times in a row.
I can't cut anything out. Live AF.
Yeah, but that stuff was legal then. And then
See,
they
here's
took
the
it
thing.
off.
Though,
Then they took it off the
I
shelves.
ask, only reason I ask is because you're talking about like, man, he has some big linemen, and I think like there's a lot of big boys that I've seen play. Like, I mean, I watched Marlboro County play for a really long time. And they were those few years when they were like the hot shit in the state. Like I got to see them play all of the biggest schools, and you see teams like Dorman or Burns Academy.
You would assume it would.
All that stuff. I'm like, man,
It's
ain't no way
competitive.
them boys is doing this on pure air and will.
Well, when you say Burns and all those Dorman and all those guys up in the upstate, you got to take in consideration, man. Like, just for example, just kind of switching sports a little bit, like baseball, Little League baseball. Okay, we have Surfside. Surfside has a great program for Little League baseball.
Yeah.
All right. So you coach throughout the year, then you get an all-star squad together. You think you got one of the best all-star squads around. You go play all-stars. Well, you realize you ain't got shit. Just for the simple fact is because you got places like that come to where you're playing. Like you got places like PD and Florence and Andrews.
Yeah.
But you know what? Those kids out there, that's what they eat, sleep, dream, baseball. And like I said, here at the beach at that young of an age, there's just so much more that you can get into than want to sit there and practice a sport every night of the week. And it's all about commitment. If you, like I tell Reed, my little boy, he's played flag football this year because, they did away with tackle and all that kind of stuff.
How you feel about that?
You know what? It is what it is.
How old is he?
He's 8, so...
We didn't get to start playing tackle football until what? We were like...
Yeah.
6th grade.
Right.
However old that is.
So I told Reed, I was like, you know what? If you want to play tackle, I'll put you in tackle. I was like, but you're not quitting. I was like, you're going to finish the season out and you never have to play it again. And he's a big boy. I mean, so... Like I tell him, he's like, Dad, he goes, I don't want to be the guy who snaps the ball. I'm like, well, let me tell you, man, the center, if you can become a good center or long snapper or whatever,
that's an important job.
It is, man. And I told him, I said, if you don't want to do that right there, you need to work on it, man. You need to get out in the yard and, run, play. Get off the phones. Get off the Nintendo Switches and game systems.
You can say, like, during that era, like, there was a group of us, and that's all we did.
Oh, I remember way back then.
All we ever did was go to all we ever did was go to like All Saints, play ball, go to Health Point,
that
play
was
ball,
one thing that
find some big open field and play.
We
football.
benefited for that before cell phones, though. You didn't have all this awesome shit. You could just stare at your phone all day long.
Exactly.
Do this awesome shit all day on your phone. You ain't got to move.
But we had the beach and all that, but we still would have.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We would. That's what we rather would.
I remember
done.
playing flag football on the beach.
Yeah.
I remember we getting together a couple times and
we'd do that.
I remember
We'd
going
play
to the football
on the beach
every Friday night, playing pick 'em up, bust 'em with like a Pepsi bottle or something like that. Or one of those plastic footballs that they would throw out at the game. Like pick 'em up, bust 'em. Whoever grabs that ball and runs, you fuck them up.
Right. Well, see, and that's where it just goes to show you times have changed, man. I mean, like I said, it's and I'm not saying I'm 100 years old. I mean, but I
may as well be
right.
We may as well be.
You just take a look at today's kids coming up to what we used to do.
Yeah.
Somebody would call me up, hey man, you want to go play football? You want to go shoot basketball? Whatever. Heck yeah, I want to go play. Nowadays, man, most kids that are, they don't have a license or a vehicle.
Me, you, Jamal, Saglettis,
there you go.
Britton's, like that's all we did. Like how many? Like we would do that. Like there would be this one court at this church outside, and there was like this light that was like the parking lot was lit, and there'd be a light right above the goal. How many nights were we out there playing basketball and stuff?
A lot. Over here at Ouachita, man. Ouachita Park.
And play at Ouachita.
Yeah. I mean, we'd run 3-4 hours there.
Yeah.
We used to go, me and Perez and my old roommate Scott used to go out there to that baseball field and just infield, like hit just like practice. I don't know, like they're doing nothing. Like ain't like we're gonna play nothing, but just hitting the infield, like taking ground balls and shit. But it's a different world now than it was back then. Like when you had a lot. I was thinking a while ago when we were talking about when you were talking about like, the tablets and shit like that. I was like, or not necessarily tablets, but like having like, the beach or a lot of shit to do in this area. Like back inland, the further you go, when there ain't nothing to do, that's why you get a lot of stud teams in like places like Marlboro County.
There ain't nothing to do in Carver's Bay.
Because there ain't nothing to do in Carver's Bay. There ain't nothing to do in Green Sea unless you got gas to get to the beach. It's.
I want to ask Jason a question. Okay, you have a child that's getting ready to like be the age. Do you have any reservations of them playing football?
I don't, man. Here's the deal, okay? I look at it as if that's what he wants to do, man, go for it.
To me, it seems silly, but that seems to be like a new argument.
Well, I will tell you this. We got some, I will say, there's some people that I talk to that they say their kid will never put on a football helmet and play football. Man, you can get in a car out there and, hit something. You can cause yourself a concussion that way. You can, man, I walk through people's houses or restaurants doing pest control, and I'll hit my head, I mean, it is what it is. Things are getting better with safety-wise. Don't get me wrong, it's still there. And I don't know, man.
Is there a need? Was it too violent of a game? I mean,
Whenever, let me tell you what, I took one hard hit that I remember back when I played. And when I was playing JV, we played Lakeview. Man, I'm gonna tell you what, this little kid that was half my size, he come back and caught me underneath my chin. And I'm gonna tell you what, man, I got up to look around to see, and I couldn't see. My eyes were blurry and everything else, and I was like, "Who hit me?" And I don't know. I remember it was on a kickoff, and I got leveled, man. And you never thought about concussions or, that kind of stuff. And nowadays, man, it's like parents are just like, let me wrap my kid in bubble wrap and keep them inside now. I mean, if you want to play football, I will let my kid play anything they want. I'll let them do anything they want to do. Reed loves to try surfing. You know what? Hey, I'll let you surf, man, but I can't help you there, bro.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man.
Adam will take him out there, let him ride the board in, do whatever, help him out, and Reed will sit there and try to do it. If Reed wants to play, Reed wanted to play soccer one time. Went to practice once, man. Coach was telling him to run laps. I'm looking for Reed. He's trying to hide behind the goalpost. And I'm like, no, bro, you got to run. He's like, well, I don't want to play soccer anymore. I'm like, you signed up, man.
You stuck for at least a little bit.
So, and things might change. Reed goes to one football practice or goes to a couple football practices. Man, I remember, I think it was called like Hamburger. I remember playing Hamburger, dude, where you just run at each other and just collide. Nowadays, man,
I think they like ban those kind of games.
they probably did. I mean, it's just where you just annihilate.
Someone told me they banned the Oklahoma drills.
Like the flip.
You can't play bull in the ring.
Yeah, bull in the ring. You
Can't play bull in the ring anymore. Bull in the ring. Even in rec, bull in the ring was like, you want to be like, okay, we're going to shake the bitch out of you.
Right.
Like, really. Like, I mean, that's what it is. And like, you do that in machine gun. Like, bull in the ring is, the coach would just call numbers.
Yeah.
And then that person goes, it doesn't matter, and just roll, and the person in the middle takes it and just keep your head on the swivel, makes you tough. Then you had machine gun, which was like everybody's in a line, and
you took them on.
Took them all on.
I remember that. I played football for like 2 seasons.
I don't even think they allow you to do that
They
stuff
don't.
anymore.
But out of your question, let me tell you, I respect anybody's decision. If you don't want your kid to play football, that's I respect.
It's acceptable these days.
Is.
It's a different time.
That is. That's what you want. You want safety for your child.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this, man. Reed is looking for the day that he can put on those pads and that helmet and just
play ball.
That's it, man. Let's go.
What am I going to do without football?
Well, here's the thing. Now, I don't know. Now, when I played football, my biggest problem was I was so much bigger than everybody else. I was scared I would hurt them. Like, I know that's a bad thing. If you're a football player, you wanna level somebody. That's your thing. But I was just so scared that I would hurt somebody.
Hey, the bigger you are, the harder you fall.
Yeah, but I mean, it was just like I was literally, I don't know, I was head and shoulders bigger than everybody else on my team and any other team, and I was just like.
So you played ball at a private school?
Yeah, I played 8-man.
8-man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, passing league.
I mean, no, it's just like you don't have near as many backs.
Right. Now, I've seen. I mean, you see it like in. I remember getting the high school weekly report on high school football and seeing 8-man in there.
Yeah, we played teams like PD Academy or yeah. I mean we.
Christian Academy
Christian schools. Yeah, I was in a Christian school league,
right.
But it was different back then, man. Like I said, our coach was a 70-year-old. He was a 70-year-old baseball player. Got drafted by the Pirates in the old school.
Right.
Yeah, he was just an old school baseball player. Coach Jim Sweat, and he was just. Old school way of doing everything, man. I mean, we'd run laps, and then he'd make us do. I can't remember what they were called. I think maybe Oklahoma's. Is that where you flip and run?
Oh,
you're on your back,
and then you get up and you yes. I mean, yeah. I don't know if that's what it's called, but I do know what you're talking about.
No, it's not Oklahoma drill. Oklahoma drill's like runs and shoots and all kinds of shit.
Okay, well, yeah,
kind of like hamburger, but
either way, yeah, it was like doing shit like that, and I remember just being. I was slow getting up. Like, I was just slow. That was my biggest thing. I was just I was so damn slow
Most linemen are.
getting up, and I was absolutely a lineman, but man, I just feel like I would have been so much better if I would have been able to. Okay, I'm supposed to do what I'm supposed to hit these people hard. I'm supposed to level them. And I was always asking. You said Reed's a big boy. I don't know. I don't know how much bigger he is than the average child his age.
All right, let me give you a little scenario real quick. So we're eating breakfast this morning, and I'm taking a look at Cruz,
Yeah.
Adam's little boy. Okay,
Yeah.
they're the same age, 8 years old. Okay,
Yeah.
Reed just turned 8. Cruz turned 8 in July.
Yeah.
Reed's 104 pounds. Cruz is 52. I mean, that's
Now,
I was a thick kid all the way up there.
Yeah,
so, I mean,
yeah,
he's
See,
big
you're going to be
boned.
able to play rec?
Well, see, that's what I try to explain to him. Like, man, when you get to go play rec and you weigh over a certain amount, you
Well, you can't play.
got to be confined to the line. You're
Yeah.
not gonna be able to touch a ball.
I remember that we couldn't play if you weighed over like
I think
buck 30 or something.
I think because
buck 20, buck 30. Because I remember kids would come down to the weigh-in.
right, because people get parents nowadays are a little soft and they get upset whenever the kid can't do something. So they make rules where I think the kids have to play from tackle to tackle and they
Yeah.
can't touch the ball. So I mean, you know what? That's how big Reed is. And Reed's not, he's thick.
yeah, exactly.
I mean-
I was the same way, dude.
And I feel bad for him sometimes because when they pick teams to play something, Reed, dude, he will play anything with you and go give it 1,000%. And sometimes they'll pick him last because he's got my syndrome, man. He only knows one speed, and that's reverse. I ain't gonna lie to you, man.
dude, I was the same way. I'm just slow.
But I don't know, man. I just I'll let him if he decides he wants to play tackle football. My man's gonna play tackle football.
But I will say this: if I believe getting out there and just being amongst other folks,
Right.
being amongst the other ones, I believe that'll like get them a little fired up because I was not into it at all. Once I realized, once it started to make a little bit of sense to me what my job was and what I was supposed to do, and I'm like, okay, I'm a part of this machine right here,
Yeah.
And dude, I mean, we were awful. We won one game both years I played. We won one game. Like it was bad. And the game that we won was against like a Mites team. Like we played like the Bennettsville Mites, the Gremlins or something like that. It was bullshit. Like they were 2 years younger than us, and I was a foot taller than them. I mean, it was bad. And there was another guy on my team who was bigger than he wasn't bigger than me. He was as big as me, but he had failed like 4 grades. Like he was just a big giant. And Dylan Priest, me and Dylan were about the same size, but he had me by like at least 3 years. But yeah, we're out here playing people. He's 5 years older than these kids. And the only game we won was against a Mites team, and I don't know, I was embarrassed. Then when I think about it now, but man, I wonder how much, and I hope that in Reed's case, I hope that he'll understand, like, hey, you might be bigger than these kids, but use that to your advantage.
All right. I try to tell him that, man. I
Yeah.
mean, right now playing the basketball league over at Blaine,
I didn't get it back then, but
Yeah, they do it they do it through grades. They don't do it through grades. So Reed's in second grade because his birthday's late.
Yeah.
So it's kindergarten through second grade. Walk into the first practice with him. I'm looking around at the other team playing. I'm like, are you sure we're in the right group? And they're like, yeah, this is kindergarten through second grade. I mean, there's kids that are like barely coming to Reed's belly button.
Yeah.
And I tell Reed, I'm like, just remember, you got to keep in mind how big you are when it comes to, and I'm not telling him to take it easy on him, but I mean, I'm like, just keep in mind how, difference in size y'all are.
in that sport.
Right. Yeah, well, I mean, basketball. I mean, because there's restrictions on him. You can't come out the
Yeah.
box to try to defend people. You have to, stay inside the box because, I mean, little kids, they need self-confidence right now to
Exactly.
get going. So,
Wish I had more of that when I was back
Right.
then, man. Oh well. But what you got any any notes over there you wanna make make your way towards Brother Asher. You don't want to write shit down like.
No, it was just a whole bunch of stuff. You're a Carolina fan. What do you think about Muschamps extension?
Here's the deal. You know, talking to Santa Claus this morning over at Jelly Belly. He asked me what I wanted for Christmas.
Claus.
I told him, I said, I want South Carolina Gamecocks to win the national championship yesterday. He said, sorry, son. I said, I want to win them next year. He goes, sorry, son. You're going to have to give them about 2023. He's like, got to give him time. You got to be
Get
patient.
his recruits in.
Got to be patient. I think, I mean, this is what people don't understand. I think Muschamp was like our 5th choice at coach.
Easily.
Okay?
We had that
Coach.
conversation.
And I'm like, 5th. Okay, so who else were you going to get to take that job? So here's what people are hollering this year about it. Okay, be patient. I mean, you know, if we went through coaches every 2 or 3 years because we're not beating Clemson, because we're not going to a New Year's Day bowl, I mean, what? I mean, you can't keep getting rid of them.
Yeah, you got to get one, stick with it, right?
Do you not think Muschamp's right for the job, or?
I think it's all right.
I've never thought he was right for the job. I always wanted Charlie Strong for y'all.
That's who I wanted. Like, I really thought that Charlie Strong would have been, like, originally, if
I don't
Charlie Strong would not have beat Oklahoma, I think Charlie Strong, that year, that they gave him another year, he did one good thing the year before he wound up getting the axe. He beat Oklahoma. Somehow, some way. If he would have lost that game, Charlie Strong would have been ushered out the door, and that was the year that Spurrier quit. And I think Charlie Strong would have come to Carolina.
Well, there you go. So you made the key point there is Spurrier quit. And I think they did an article in the paper or something the other day, and I read it. And Spurrier he said, you know, that year is on me. He says, I caused the downfall that year because I didn't want to be in it. I think after we, I think
Did he cause the downfall overall? You could say that year, but then because he didn't put effort into recruiting at all, unless it was 1 or 2 5-stars.
I mean, he gave his son that whole thing, and like you did.
Yeah, well, see, that's what they
awful.
thought. That's what they thought. His son was going to take the reign over, and I
he
mean,
didn't give a shit either.
What do you think of Spurrier's legacy at Carolina, or
Spurrier,
overall as well?
as a football coach, I mean, you know,
He quit in the middle of his only losing season.
right. Here's the thing, man, is I think Spurrier did us good because Spurrier put us in a position to where we could have. I mean, we played for an SEC championship. We
Yeah.
got the shit kicked out of us by Cam Newton and Auburn. I mean,
What you got there?
well, you're right. We got there, but I mean, it's just like if I get there, I want to be close, and it wasn't even close. So you asked me what I think about Spurrier overall. Spurrier's a good coach. He knew what he was doing. He got some good recruits in. I mean, you got to look at Clowney. You got to look at Jeffries. You know, you have some other ones, Pharaoh Cooper, those guys.
Got the number 1 running back, but then he
Lattimore.
got his legs blown off.
Yeah,
Dude.
And he gave it his world. But here's the thing, man. If you can't wake up one morning and say, you know what, I'm done.
Garcia.
Let me tell you
They
what.
should have
Do you
gave
think
that
that
boy a
Spurrier-
bottle of vodka and let him play football.
I mean, Garcia, how many chances do you give a kid that, man?
But do you think he rode him extra hard?
Who's that?
Spurrier rode Garcia.
Oh, well, absolutely, because that was Spurrier's kid. Spurrier brought him in.
That was his boy.
That's
Yeah.
right. Spurrier. I mean, Garcia was a good dual threat. I mean, Garcia would run the ball and he would throw the ball. I mean,
Garcia's someone you would want to go to war with.
right. So let me ask you a question. Who was that quarterback whenever
I remember I was
whenever
there.
Alabama got beaten Williams-Brice?
That was Steven Garcia. That was like he played like one game after that, and then
And got in trouble
Yeah,
again.
got in trouble again. But the only thing that I've always said
He was
is
never
that-
suspended a game.
Yeah, I mean,
All those times he never got suspended.
I know,
He
yeah,
got
I know.
like, you will not start or play a half, but
Right.
he played every game.
But like, what do you expect from a kid?
Rock
that's-
star.
What do you expect in Columbia at 5 points every night? Like he's a god.
Right.
Here's a question I got for y'all. What changes for South Carolina if Steven Garcia they just turn a blind eye to it and they do what every other SEC team would have done. He's just a kid doing. What if
he would have operated with the moxie of like Baker Mayfield or Johnny Football or Cam Newton,
and add on to that
Spurrier browbeat him every chance he got.
That Lattimore doesn't get hurt. How does that change South Carolina's future? If Lattimore never gets hurt and Steven Garcia, they just let him stay in. They just leave him. You had Alshon back then.
Yeah.
You had Clowney on the other side of the ball then.
Yeah. You had a lot on the. I mean,
that was a stud team.
Melvin Ingram.
And you think of the
starters we had.
We've gone down the list of all the starters that were on that Alabama team that they beat, that you all beat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: is like we are definitely way behind that one team in the Upstate.
Yeah.
I mean, we're way behind in recruiting. I mean, I'm not gonna.
Speaking of which, did you listen to Sports Talk last night?
I didn't, man. I was.
Professor was talking about that they could do what. Somebody got mad because one of the dudes on the talk called ETN a hoss. Like he said, they got a hoss they can hand the ball to, and they're like, South Carolina's got several hosses they can hand the ball to, but they won't because it's not their style. What? How do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, you got to take a look at, like, towards the end of the season, man, we were not healthy. And
is ETN going to be running like that in SEC?
Is Clemson going to be playing, that team in the Upstate going to be playing like that in the SEC? I'm just asking. I mean, we've had this discussion before.
ETN is Leonard Fournette, if you ask me.
Is that a good thing?
I don't think so.
I mean, he's a horse. That's what the guy said last night. I haven't seen a horse.
Do you listen to it?
I see a man.
Did you hear it? Yeah, he got pissed off, man. He was like, he totally heard something different.
The black dude.
Yeah. He's like, he's a human being. He ain't no horse.
He's
like,
horse. I see a man.
Well, first off, I said horse, but I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. It's like he got pissed.
So, I mean, you take a look at people like Georgia. Okay, Georgia's got what 2-3 running backs.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, who Georgia produces, good running backs. I mean, take a look at who is it? Gurley. Gurley came out of Georgia, right? I mean, they produce good quarterbacks. Clemson. I mean, they produce good talent too. I mean, just like Randy Moss said the other day, he said Clemson is the new wide receiver U.
It is.
I mean, dude, T. Higgins. Come on, man.
South Carolina for a while seemed to be DBU.
Right. I mean, South Carolina has some good receivers, too. I'll never forget it, man. Lane Kiffin, Tennessee, telling Alshon Jeffries before he was recruited by South Carolina, before he committed to South Carolina, telling Alshon Jeffries, if you go play for the University of South Carolina, you'll be pumping gas when you get done playing. I'll never forget it. I was in Knoxville. I was in Neyland Stadium leaving the game, and we got beat. I was there, leaving out, and you don't know how many little frat kids come in my face. Yeah, Jeffrey's gonna be pumping gas, blah. And I'm like, if I wasn't with family, I probably would have went back with them. But it is what it is. I mean,
what's Derek Watson doing?
He's probably pumping gas.
Mr. South Carolina football. You know who the best player to ever play in South Carolina was?
At South Carolina?
Yeah.
Marlboro County's finest.
Yep. Savell Newton. Savell was best play at South Carolina. In our memory, in our recent memory, he did everything. When Spurrier first got there, he was the only person who knew how to play football.
I'll never forget that fight with Clemson.
I was at that game.
Fucking, they went at
that
it.
Was
dude.
That was Holt's last game.
That's right. And let me tell you what, old Lou Holt, you just gotta keep that guy in there. I mean, no, Savell Newton was a good dual threat. I mean, there you go.
He did everything.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah. Well, he did, even in high school,
quarterback, running back, wide
even
receiver,
in high school, he did
kicks.
everything.
Well, that's just like what's his name at the upstate school, Renfro.
Yep.
Dude. I mean, I remember watching them
Utility
play
player.
Marlboro County.
Beat Marlboro County.
Chuck Norris
And
threw a
Soccer
punch.
The
Hunter Renfro caught it for a touchdown.
Right, there you go. To go to the state championship, they were playing Lower State at Soccer Steve.
I remember that. I was there. I'm pretty sure.
Watching Hunter Renfro, dude, he punted, quarterback. I mean, shit, he tried to throw the ball to himself and catch it. You know, he played on the defense. And I'm like, this kid is, I mean, you get those kids like that, and, I mean, they I don't know. It's tough to come into college and play positions like that. I mean, it just is. I mean, you can't, you know, play quarterback, you know, one quarter and then jump over to receiver, play the other. You know, I mean, it can be done, I guess, but I mean.
You know the offense.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
you're right.
If
You're
you got
right.
it, you got it.
You're right. But I mean, you know, you take a look at, it's just like, for example, Cam Newton this year, okay?
Yeah.
I mean, is he really a quarterback or is he a running back?
Bro, he's a linebacker, fullback, tight end maybe.
Lame duck.
Right. But I mean, but that's what I'm just saying. He tries
Scam
to.
Newton. I've always hated him.
You.
I've
You-
always hated him.
You.
I believe I got more right to hate him than most people.
But why? Why
Well,
should
well, okay. This is good. Okay. Will Panthers ever get rid of Cam Newton?
Will they ever get rid of
He's
Cam
their guy.
Newton?
He's their guy. He
New ownership.
Really? When did that happen?
That happened last year.
Yeah,
that happened
well,
this year
the
because
dude
of the
had to sell
sexual the sexual harassment allegations and all that. Richardson had to sell it.
And then that's when, you know, P. Diddy and those guys were talking about buying it. And,
Oh, that would have been it right there.
Black Panthers.
Well, see, here's the thing. I feel like, all right, there was a time, like right after Cam got in that wreck, and he started coming out doing all kinds of different things, you know, doing the shit he started doing the Play
Dressing like
60
a woman.
stuff, the Play 60 stuff and all the shit for the kids. Like, he didn't really never do none of that until he got in that wreck, you know?
right.
Like, you feel like he sort of had like a come to Jesus moment.
Right.
And was like, I need to change some shit. I need to do this right. And I feel like he did that. And I dare I say, I felt bad about how shitty I thought he was for so long. And then all of a sudden, like, this old stuff starts to slip back in, and he starts dressing like an independent woman that don't need a man for nothing. And now he's out here doing God knows what. And I just don't think that he cares. And I think that Panther fans got fooled by that one Super Bowl visit, just like the last generation of Panthers fans got fooled by that one Super Bowl visit.
Right.
And it's like, dude, it was a fluke the first time. It was probably a fluke the second time. I mean, they did really good. That keep pounding stuff was very fun to watch on Facebook.
Oh, they've pounded all right. I mean, they started, 6-2?
Yeah.
And now they're, 7-6 or 8 or 6 and...
Yeah.
I mean, they got a losing record. I mean, they've lost, 6, 7 in a row or whatever.
Next year, they have lackluster, whatever. They go 7-9, 8, whatever. Do you start to think about a change?
Oh, wait, you're going to see a change after this year. I'm not going to say you're going to see a change at quarterback. I think you'll see change at coach.
Riverboat Ron's gonna
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, man.
I've never understood him there.
Well, all right. So
good defensive-minded coach.
he is.
You know.
Well, so you take a look at you ask yourself about hires like that, okay? You know, I mean, so I don't know if you continue to lose, but you're not changing anything. I mean, you're firing an offensive coordinator or whatever they fired through the season and what have you. I mean, don't you have to start making? I mean,
I wish Josh Norman would have stayed.
But I mean, you don't have a go-to receiver. Who's your go-to receiver?
Steve Smith should have retired at Panther.
Yeah.
So who's your go-to
Agreed.
receiver?
They don't.
I mean, you
Kelvin
got Moore,
Benjamin's gone.
You got Bunches out there. You got
Now, see,
Boyd.
that would have been him. That would have been it. Benjamin, he was it. He was, dude. I don't know how they let that.
I think he was I think he was a cancer in the locker room. That's why I think they let him go.
Think so?
Absolutely. I mean, because all right, look what the Bills did, man. Bills come up and release him.
Yeah.
And people, I was sitting and talking to.
He was Booby Miles.
I was talking to somebody last night at Mellow Mushroom.
It
Okay,
wasn't cancer.
You're in Mellow Mushroom. I was
Every
in
team
Mellow.
has a booby.
Right, you got Mellow Mushroom, okay? I'm at Mellow Mushroom last night talking to a guy,
Yeah.
and we're just going over some games. I was asking who you think's going to win. You know, here's the spread or whatever. And we got to I asked him. He's like, man. He goes, the Chargers are going to kill the Ravens tomorrow night or whatever. And I was like,
Phillip Rivers is having a year.
yeah, well, he is. But here's the thing. I was like, do you not realize? I was like, let me ask you a question. I was like, where do the Ravens stand in defense wise in the NFL? What position are they? Are they middle of the pack? Are they at the end? Whatever. He goes, I don't know. I said, dude. I said the Ravens have the number one defense in the
Easily.
NFL. I said, do you know who has number two?
Saints, right?
The Bills, man. Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills were number 1 going into last week.
You know what?
So they had Kelvin Benjamin.
I knew that.
They had
from
Kelvin.
fantasy.
Right. They had Kelvin Benjamin mid-season. I mean, great, he might not be performing, but I mean, he could be a decoy, right? I mean, you just don't let him go. So there has to be something behind that on why they let him go. It's just like the whole Le'Veon Bell thing, you know. I mean, why do you think the Steelers didn't bring him back midway through the season? Give him a contract because I mean, you as a player, you're running back, you're starting running back set out half the season, and you got a running back that's come in that's putting up just as good numbers as what he did. Do you think that the Steelers
Losing to believe, is it the running back or is that just your line?
Well, I mean,
Is that just your blocking ability?
Maybe your blocking ability, but I mean, do you bring this kid in to start playing and, you know, you got your offensive line, you know, they got a bad taste in with, hey, man, you weren't here at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I understand the complete reason why Bell set out. He's playing for his he wanted his contract because this is his last contract. He might sign a contract like Adrian Peterson, you know, after he takes this big one. But
this is his last big contract, and before he gets single years.
This is it, man. I mean, he wants big money right now because he don't want to go out there and blow a knee this season and play.
How do you feel about players doing that? How do you feel about players just getting greedy and wanting like
Same thing that like players sit out bowl games. I know that's something that you wanted to talk about.
Exact same
thing. Like people sitting out bowl games. Like,
how do you feel about that?
Willis McGahee. Granted, that was in a national championship game, and he had an insurance policy that was like revolutionary at the time.
Still got drafted though.
Still
first round.
Got drafted. Did Willis McGahee get first round?
I believe he did. By the Ravens took a chance on him.
But you're playing in the CarQuest Bowl.
When this year?
No, I'm just naming. Yeah,
No.
Yeah, you.
Right.
You're five. You know, you're projected first round, and your team has made the CarQuest Bowl or the Weed Eater Bowl or anything other than a bowl game that matters.
We hit this last time me and you did a podcast, okay? But then right after we got done doing, your buddy Nick Saban went into a press conference, and you shared it on Facebook or whatever, and he said it perfect. You know who's doing all this, making these kids sit out?
We are.
The damn media, everybody else that wanted all these bowl games. They wanted the playoff. They got the playoff. They got their playoff, okay? You haven't seen the first person sit out in the playoff.
No, you won't because that actually matters.
And you really haven't seen a kid sit. Dude, I was looking at it today, just kind of going through, just seeing who sat out and who hasn't. Michigan's got like 4 guys that's not playing in their bowl game. And I mean, they're playing in a decent bowl. Get back to Deebo Samuels, man. I would have loved to see him play in this one last time right here. But
give him a chance to get peak dollars.
But he's gotten hurt before.
Oh, no,
and he's come back, and you're playing Virginia in the Belt Bowl.
That's the thing that I didn't. That's the thing I didn't take into account is that they're trying to avoid injuries.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. You don't want to get injured on some fluke bullshit
account.
that don't matter because your season's over. This is just like so you can get a gift bag and the school can get some cash.
Yeah, you get your wardrobe.
And my contract next year is going to be worth more than what the school's getting for all of us playing. So hell with that. I get that.
Yeah.
Well, no, it is. I mean, just take a look at Memphis today, man. Memphis, I mean, their running back, dude, he was a beast this year. I mean, just watching him play, 200-yard games or whatever. I mean, and he decides to sit out the bowl game today. I forget what game they were playing in, but I mean, they were playing Wake Forest.
Good.
Why does he, I like what Nick Saban says,
Me too.
Y'all wanted a playoff, you got a playoff. Now y'all got 114 different bowl games we're getting a bowl game here in Myrtle Beach. Come on, man. Great for Myrtle Beach. That'd be awesome to go see, whatever. But
it's because it's about money less than the game.
But then that bowl game's going to be like second in the Sun Belt versus like third in the American or whatever. It's like, okay, great.
Well, see, I think this year, last year, I know they had teams with losing records in bowl games. But this year, I don't think any team with a losing record made it. I mean, there's some 500 teams that made it.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's any under 500 teams that made it. So here's the thing, man, is in order to get these kids to stop doing it, which, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Man.
Don't stop it. That's fine. Let me ask this, though. What do you think about, and personally, I don't believe they should. A lot of people say it should be now an 8-team playoff.
All right, well, let me ask you this question before I answer that question, all right? Georgia beat Alabama.
Right.
Okay.
Say Georgia did beat Alabama.
For the SEC
Alabama's
championship.
cut out. Sorry. Wrong loss, wrong time.
Okay, but Georgia's lost as well during the
But they lost earlier in the season, but they proved face to face that they're better than Alabama. Sorry, Alabama, you're out of the 4.
But if I mean, see, I have to disagree with you on that part right there.
Alabama might be a better team, but you lost at the wrong time, man. It's like the NCAA tournament. Virginia went was the number 1 team in the country and got beat by University of Maryland, Baltimore County, or whatever BC stands for.
You know, here's my thing on it though. You're the number 1 team whole year.
So are you for an expansion? 8 teams?
Here's what I'm totally for an expansion for 8 teams, and here's the reason why. Okay, like I said on the previous one, you give your 5 major conferences, your Power 5 conferences. The champion of that is automatically in. Okay, so then if you get Notre Dame that gets lucky again,
Make Notre Dame join a conference.
but don't
Make Notre Dame join a conference. You're not
agree with
special.
that.
You're not special, man. You're not special anymore. Like, this is 2018. This isn't 1950. Make Notre Dame join a conference, and then your conference championship becomes that first round. I agree. But then you take the top 4. Because basically that's what we have. People want another round. Your conference championship is that extra round.
But let me ask you a question. Though. Just think about it. And, all right, I mean, I get people not wanting to expand, but how awesome would it be? Okay, you start playing your playoffs enough ahead of time, to make a Super Bowl week. Okay, you know, the week before you play the national championship that Sunday, the next Sunday. You know, when you got the Pro Bowl going on.
Yeah.
All right. Put some real football in there. Make it a college championship the week before the Super Bowl, and then you got the Super Bowl the next week to run your 8. Because here's the thing: Notre Dame will never join a conference in football unless NBC does.
So you're talking about extending the actual college football season even further into second semester? Because then you almost you'll only have a month gap between spring practice and the end of the season.
Hey, perfect, great points. But here's the thing: is Alabama gets beat by Georgia. Georgia's making the playoff. Alabama sits out. I just can't see. I don't know, especially being. Dude, I'd be the first one to love. I'd be the first one to love to see Alabama out.
I said this to both of y'all, which you will never hear a fan of any team say, is that Georgia needed to beat us for the sake of the game. Like, they had that opportunity. They really needed to win that game for the sake of the sport. And they had us beat. They literally, I mean, they won that game. If you ask, I mean, they beat us up and down both sides of the field, man. Like, it was a random happenstance how that game ended.
This is a real question, and I'm not
Both
sure.
times.
If you look at like when your national championship game is, then this is a total off the wall thought. But can you go into second semester and play a sport? Like if it's one of those eligibility kind of things, where do you get what I'm saying? Like the season has to be done before a certain period. Because if not, then you have to start ruling off eligibility off the first semester, which some schools might actually have a problem doing that.
Right. Okay. So you know, that's a legit question, but I don't think the NCAA has anything to do with the playoff.
Or do they? But like the season has to be done by X date. If not, then we have to start saying, is this player eligible to play
I could see that
into
being
the
a thing.
second
All right.
semester?
Right. Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, because let me tell you what, there's some kids out there, I mean, on football teams that, you know, that probably wouldn't be eligible to play.
And then they make it up in second semester in summer school to become eligible the next fall. That's the way that works a lot of time. I'll take intro to guitar and AIDS awareness during the summer.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, man. I just think that I would love to see it. 'Cause here's the whole reason why I want an expansion, okay? For all the Central Florida fans.
God, me too, man.
Man, come in. Here's the thing. You're
me.
undefeated.
Show me.
You're undefeated. You're in the top 10. You're undefeated. Give me I mean, you deserve a chance to play for championship, but I'm not going to say you're going to make it.
I think it has to stop at 8, though.
Oh,
Oh God, yeah.
you'll never
it has
see
to
it.
stop at 8.
I don't-
If
I
it
don't-
gets to 8, it has to stop there.
I don't think it'll ever get to 8. I think it'll get to 6. I think they'll add 2 more teams. Like I said, man.
Which I'd be fine with it. I'd be fine with
play-in?
2 more teams. A play-in.
well,
A play-in and your number 1 team gets a bye.
but why would you? You can't? You wouldn't be able to. If you had 6, you couldn't do your number 1 team getting a bye, because then you'd have 5 teams left there.
Yeah.
So-
Well, your number 2. Well, your top 2 teams get a bye then.
Okay, so I mean that's
So that would only be expanding one team. Actually, it was the bracket. Like you'd go from 4 to 5 teams. If you had a
If you had a
play-in,
play-in.
if you had a play-in, then you would have 4 and 5 play each other for the 4th spot, and then you'd have 3, 2, and 1.
All right, but let me ask you a question. If it's like why can't it be? And I'm not saying expand it to 64 teams or 68 teams like
Yeah,
college
that's
basketball.
bullshit.
No, it is. It's crazy. But how can you? Why not take your conference champions? And I'm not talking about if you don't play a conference championship game, if you don't play it, you're not in it. So
Yeah.
got the Pac-12. Where are they at in the championship this year? They're not. Got the Big Ten. Where are they at in the championship this year? They're not. Okay. You got Oklahoma from the Big 12. You got Clemson from the ACC. You got Alabama, and then who's the Notre Dame who belongs to whatever. Okay. So you can make it your Power 5. Bring your Power 5. Give every one of them, your conference winners, a chance at it.
And then your
That's
best
your 5 teams.
then your
Huh?
best
That's
next
5
team.
teams.
right. Well, and then if you wanted to make it your 6, you give your because
Your honorable mention. You get 1 honorable mention team.
right. How often do you think Notre Dame's going to go undefeated? Because they got to play Clemson
Depends
next year.
on that schedule. Yeah,
They play
I mean,
Clemson next year, I believe, in Death Valley. if I'm
Depends
not
on that
mistaken.
schedule. So I mean,
Or they might play them at Notre Dame next year, because I know that previous year Golston
Yeah.
was at Notre Dame. They played in Clemson, I think, because it was pouring down rain.
Okay. Cam Newton sucks next year. This is a statement. This is hypothetical. And sucks the next year. Does Carolina make a play for Clemson's quarterback?
I mean,
Give Cam 2 more years. If not, out the door. We will trade you.
I don't know if
to
you
get
give
up
him,
in the
do you-
draft.
but do you give him 2 years?
I don't.
Do you? I don't know.
Do you? I mean, because
I don't know.
he's kind of. I mean, he's kind of fell.
He's had his
fallen
time.
off
He's
the
had his
wagon.
time. He's had his time to prove.
Give him 2
He's had
give him
he's
2
had
more.
weapons.
I don't know what his contract is, but
He's
So,
had weapons.
just-
He's had his opportunity.
Just for instance, like watching the game last week, who did they play last week? They got beat. The Browns.
Saints.
The Browns. No, you're right. The Saints. You're absolutely right. The Saints. Okay, it was the week before they got beat by the Browns,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Well, watching them play on Monday Night Football, all right?
yeah.
And he gets a first down, man. And if I'm not mistaken, it was right before the half. Gets a first down, and and he's like gets up and does this whole whatever
Superman
first down
bullshit.
thing or whatever. Letting time run off the clock instead of running back to your huddle.
Yeah.
and getting it together to try to score. I mean, because the game
Tells you what. That tells you what.
it's about itself.
He ain't in it for the team.
Right.
He ain't in it for the game. He's in it for him.
Let me tell you right now,
He's already had his chance.
Aaron Rodgers. I'm I can't stand the guy. I just don't like. I mean, great football player, great quarterback.
Yeah.
He's an arrogant bastard to me. But whenever this week, that people were talking that Green Bay was going to sit him, and Aaron Rodgers is like, no, they're not sitting me. I'm playing because I'm a leader. This is my team.
Yeah.
And whether we can make a playoff run or not, I mean, which they can't.
His team treats him as such though.
Right.
Like they know that that's his team. They know that that's Aaron Rodgers'
You
team.
know, and I don't know if I mentioned this like other time, maybe, because this does seem like a deja vu moment just for a second. But the way that Cam reacts to everything, like the quarterback is your leader, is supposed to be your general, whatever, and
Yeah.
the defense
You ain't supposed to show no
feeds off
weakness.
of it a little bit. You're not supposed to show no weakness.
Yeah.
Like I forgot who it was. He's like, I want my quarterback to have the biggest dick in the locker room.
Exactly.
Some coach said that at some point in time somewhere. But you want that person,
Which is why
to like lead everyone. And then whenever he does something good, it becomes me, I'm Superman or Dabin or this or that. It's great. It's marketing, cool, whatever. But as soon as he does something bad, he's got the towel over his head. It looks like he's crying on the sideline.
It's like after the Super Bowl.
Head down like a whipped dog, and it's like,
you can't do that.
Well, let me ask you a question. Who is your NFL team?
I grew up a Bears fan and
you
Atlanta
not?
fan when they had Dion and Andre Rison, but I don't. I just love sports. Like I really don't even have
Right.
like an NFL team. Like I'll watch every single
me neither.
game that's on.
Right. And yeah, and that's the good thing about it is it's just like with me with NBA.
I come from with no favoritism.
I could care less about I'll watch the NBA when it comes down to playoffs and finals.
Yeah.
It's just like with college basketball. I'm a South Carolina fan, but I know it's just like the good old South Carolina saying, "Wait till next year." And so I enjoy sitting back, like you said, and watching. I love college basketball tournament. Just because you get to see these little schools show what they got.
But you don't watch it at all regular season, do you?
College basketball?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Once they get into conference play, I do.
I don't watch regular season. I watch it in March. But
Okay. This leads into a couple of things. Perfect.
No,
That I just wrote down.
No, we're coming up. We're coming up on that hour and 15-minute mark. So we'll. I don't know how long y'all
Okay. You got nothing.
y'all got or y'all want to roll for. But
It's whatever you want to do, man.
I'm good for you. I don't have anything till 6 o'clock. So.
I don't have to be home until 6:30.
Okay.
I might get in trouble, but it's all good, man. It's like a cold. You
All right,
get
cool.
over it, right?
Cool.
Yeah.
I got some more of that drink left, so we're good.
Good. All right. So anyway, didn't mean to cut you off. You were
No.
saying.
College basketball. What do you think of Zion?
He's a monster. I don't think. I'm not saying he wouldn't have been ready for the NBA. I think it's good that college has got to be out of school, play a year in college, or be. Because I'll never forget, just listening to people before the season started, Duke will not be touched. Duke will not be touched.
They were so ready to hand them that ring
Right.
after that first game.
Right.
Or even, it wasn't even a game, it was like a scrimmage or something like that.
And he is, though. But Zion Williams, he's a monster, dude. I mean, and the scary thing about it is, do you realize how close he was to going to Clemson?
No.
I mean, everybody
Yeah,
thought
right there. Like, there's
everybody
possibility,
thought
but-
that's where he was going because and that's the other thing I don't understand is Duke, man. They get all these guys in there. What's the kid Barrett with him or whatever? Is that in the play? I mean, they're unbelievable. They make each other look great. Do you not like him? What is?
There's a couple of things. One, I wonder how good he's going to be because he's so heavy at the moment as a freshman. Like LeBron's 6'8", 250. And the amazing thing about him is he's been able to like keep his knees,
Stay healthy.
stay healthy. Zion's 278, I think, 6'8", like 278, something like that, like a shade under 280, and is 19 years old, maybe 18, 19. He's a freshman in college.
That's
so
Great
whatever that
Dane,
is.
man. First thing to go in them is the
Like,
bones.
Yeah, so it's like, how long can you are a physical freak at this moment. How long are you going to be able to sustain that? Because you're going to have to get on, like, I am a vegan. I am not, once I get paid and I'm rich, I'm not eating steak and meat and pork and whatever else. Like, he could be Sean Kemp. Sean Kemp blew up over 300 pounds, and then all that getting off the ground shit didn't happen anymore.
Right.
He can't shoot. I mean, he can shoot it. Like, you look at his shot, the shot's flat as hell. He ain't got, like, a jump shot.
Right.
And so unless he develops that, he is just like a rim attacking monster. And how long can, like, you sustain that? Like, at that weight, which will be amazing. One, you alluded to, like, going to Duke. Why does everyone go to Duke? Other than just the name. Is everyone getting paid? Is that, like, they just have the best pipeline? Which brings up, like, a couple other things I wrote down. One, what do you think about that? What do you think about the key to Clemson's success? What is their pipeline? Is there something going on there? And as far as the one and done in the NBA, next year they're starting, instead of going to school, you can go to the G League for 100 or D League, G League, whatever it is, for 100 a contract for 110,000. Still keep the same rules, like you got to be a year removed from high school.
Yeah.
But you can come to the G League and play for 110 grand.
Why wouldn't you do that?
Is a college going to feed you more money than that? Is Nike going to siphon you money? Is Adidas going to siphon you money?
Yeah.
How does that work? Why are all these kids going to Duke now? That's what I'm curious.
I got a question once you answer this.
All right. Well, so you take a look at this, okay? For instance, just take a look at Grayson Allen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Coach K's son.
All right. So I enjoy watching competitive basketball. I don't want to watch, just like the other night, Texas Tech Duke. Okay.
Yeah.
I remember looking at the score halftime, 28-29. Taking a look at it again, started second half. I mean, Texas Tech started pulling away.
Yeah.
Well, then Duke had to fight back. They really had to play ball to come back and win it. So, you ask that. I mean, Grayson Allen, smart kid. He stayed. He got his degree. I mean, so you take some of these kids that go to college for 1 year just to get to the NBA. You go to the NBA, man, you blow your knee out. Yeah, you played the NBA. You got you a contract. You made a couple $1 million, but
who wants to be that person?
is
in
that
the
$1
end
million
of their career?
Is that $1 million gonna make you live? Give me $1 million, okay?
Yeah.
I'm gonna make it last me. But
No
you're
shit.
you're
Yeah.
you're used to that high life, okay? I'll never forget it, man. Remember Hubert Davis?
No.
You ever heard of Hubert Davis?
Yep. Played for the Knicks. What, North Carolina, I think.
Well, played North Carolina. He was on college game day. All right, so I did pass control down on Paul Zahn. I used to do a guy over in the reserve. He goes, "Do you mind going over to my second home over in Willowbrook and doing the pest control over there? My daughter and her husband and kids are over there. They're in town." I said, "Sure."
Hubert Davis.
So I go over there, ring the doorbell. Big old dude answers the door, and I'm like, "Wait a minute." I'm like, "Aren't you the guy on?" At the time, he was on college game day for basketball, and he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "That's me. How you doing?" And dude, his hands were like ginormous. So I just got to talking to him, and by talking to his father-in-law and stuff like that, his last years of playing NBA basketball. Do you know why they kept him around? To be a mentor. You had people like Kwame Brown coming in. His father-in-law
Good
told
locker
me,
room guy.
yeah, his father-in-law told me a story that
I think that is the most underutilized option in professional sports.
right. He told me that Kwame Brown, he literally when Kwame Brown got signed, first round or whatever, straight out of high school, he was talking about how he bought all his boys this, bought his mom this, and bought people that so Hubert Davis sit down and asked him. He's like, "Man," he goes, "Well, let me ask you this question." He goes, "You're spending all this money and everything, man. What about taxes? What about your money for your, just for your league dues and stuff like? Because I mean, I think they have to pay like
Into the union?
yeah,
Well.
have to pay into the union or whatever. I mean, you got to pay all these things, but these young kids, jump right from high school into NBA, the pros, and get all this money, and they do all this with it. And Hubert Davis, I mean, that's why I think the Wizards is who he ended up his last
He
season.
was with the Knicks for a long time.
Yeah, but so that's why they kept him around to help mentor these young kids, and that's where I think that. Now, don't get me wrong, man. There's some kids that just don't have school smarts, and they need to go straight to making money.
Well,
And
that's across professional sports. That's a huge problem. This is a stat that I read in Sports Illustrated. You have the average NFL career is 3 years. The average NBA career is 5 years. The average NBA player makes $5 million over 5 years. The stat is slightly dated, probably about like 4 years or whatever, but it really hasn't changed because I've seen that the leagues themselves are now getting more proactive to fix this problem. But say your average, this was a stat put out by the NBA Players Association, like the union, that the average career was 5 years. The average player would make $5 million over 5 years. Over 50% of players that would go through the league, because not everybody's Kobe, would be broke 5 years after leaving the league.
Yep.
absolutely, man.
It was like 60%. It was actually like astonishing. Like basically you just gave like a 19 or 20-year-old $5 million, and then they were in the league till they were 24, 25, and by the time they're 30, they're broke.
Now, here's the question that I was going to ask. Would it be the end of the world if these college players... Now, there's a lot of money that goes into those programs, and these college players bring a lot of that money into these programs. Would it be the end of the world if there was a fund set up for them and somebody to show them how to spend this money, an advisor to show them how to not be broke in 5 years, like you're saying? Like, what if they start them off in college and show them, like, okay, so you're going to be making a lot of money in the next couple of years if you continue on the path you're on. Let me show you how to do this the right way. Pay the kids. They're making so much money.
See, but you can't. That's a problem.
That's the question I have. Like, is why do you think
Why
that?
do you can't? Because here's the thing, man. Is well, all right. I ain't gonna say you can't. You can, but you can't unless. In order to do that, you got to make sure it's even across the table.
Yeah.
You can't let these Duke, North Carolina, Kansas, Gonzaga.
Can afford more than
You can't allow them because they got boosters that are just like throwing money.
Well,
in
that's
there.
what I'm saying. Like, make it like, make it even. Make it to where all across the board, like there is a limit. You cannot pay more than this.
But then you're going to have schools like your smaller schools, like and you, not that it'll matter. I don't think. I mean, but like I don't think your smaller schools could do it. I mean, I agree with you because you are absolutely right. Let me ask you a question. You go and you buy a jersey for North Carolina.
Yeah.
All right, just say Zion Williams. You go buy the Duke jersey.
Yeah.
Zion Williams number on it. It might not say Williams on the
Yeah.
back of it or whatever, but you're buying that jersey because of him, okay?
Yeah.
All right? So, I mean, you're pumping money into Duke
Yeah.
because of this kid right here. Zion Williams is bringing money into Duke, all right? Because he's playing there. So, you don't have that like Coastal Carolina. You don't have that like at UNC
exactly.
Asheville or College of Charleston. I mean, you know, I remember College of Charleston having some good guys. I mean, hell, they went to the. I remember they went to the NCAA tournament and beat Arizona.
Yeah.
They had Marion Busby living down, I believe, down in Paulie's Island.
Also had that kid that not basketball related, but he won the home run derby, the college home run derby that 1 year from College Charleston.
Who's that?
I just baseball player. I can't remember his name.
So I mean, getting back to that, I do think you can pay players. You just got to make it even across the board.
That's that's what I'm saying too. Is that it's definitely even across the board.
And just like he asked, how does Clemson funnel their players in there, get their players in there? Now, don't get me wrong, man. I mean, I'm pretty sure it goes on everywhere. I mean, money. I seen it with my own eyes, legitly. We were down at the Florida South Carolina game, and I watched a kid come over to Reggie Nelson and Cohen. I forget. I watched it with my own eyes. You know, handshakes, whatever. You know, it is what it is. I mean, you can't expect these kids to go through college, and then they don't. They get their college paid for.
What did Barkley say about Cam Newton?
I would have paid $50,000.
I'd have wrote the check.
Oh,
Said I'd have wrote him a check.
$50,000. That's it. I would have paid it.
I mean, but here's the thing, man. You take, for instance, Cam Newton. Okay, he goes to Florida, gets kicked out of Florida for what? Theft? Stealing a computer?
Laptops. Yeah.
Okay. Then he goes and plays at a Division 18 school, whatever. I don't know where the hell he went after that.
Yeah.
Then he comes back and plays at Auburn, okay? I mean, do you want to be that, you know, the only time I ever hear like top schools, like I never hear anything out of Clemson, okay? Dabo's got his squad running good, okay? I don't never hear anything out of Alabama until after they get out the NFL, like Reuben Foster. I mean, what the hell, you know?
Okay. This is the pipeline. The secret to running a good pipeline is not being in a state capital where there's too many cooks in the kitchen. Tuscaloosa isn't a state capital.
They're
is it?
not. Yeah.
Clemson, definitely not near a state capital. Do all the little things right, not the big things wrong.
You're right.
They got their pipeline set up, and I heard a rumor. I don't even want to say that, like about that pipeline in the upstate. But I'm just curious, like, what has been the secret to their success?
Is it Dabo walking into the houses and kicking his shoes off and laying on the couch?
I've been on the road for a long time. I need about 15 minutes. Do you mind? Do you got something cold to drink? Oh, yeah, I love Kool-Aid. Bring me some. Before I take a nap, can we just say a prayer?
And he just get in there.
Your son will be A-okay in Clemson. I'll take care of him. I'll
And
have
so
him in
will
church. And so will God. Dabo should get like a Chick-fil-A endorsement.
My pleasure.
My pleasure.
No, I mean, and he does. Let me tell you right now, man. That's probably one of the best hires Clemson's done. I mean, I know people say Danny Ford and what have you. You know, Clemson does have a national championship from back in 80, 81, or whatever.
Roll time.
But it does have an asterisk by it, I do believe. The one they had back in the early '80s.
Did they get Marist?
I mean, if you take a look at it and you go back and read it, I mean, it'll show you where it's got an asterisk beside it because, I mean, they got into some trouble. I mean, and it'll state it right there. I mean, here's the thing. Bottom line, it gets done everywhere. But one thing that really came to my attention was when T. Higgins came out of Knoxville, other side of Knoxville, played high school ball there. And if I'm not mistaken, when he got signed, or didn't sign, but when he got a scholarship with Clemson, got his picture taken at a car dealership right next to the owner in a nice car.
Oh, dude, there was a kid that played for Marion or Mullins when I was still in high school. I was going to Lat at that time, so this was probably 2004, 3 or 4. He was some stud running back for Marion and Mullins. Like, ended up like Bobby Gerald gave him a Hummer, a brand new yellow Hummer, and there's like it's all big right up in the paper. Like, just gave it to him, like gave him a brand new Hummer. And I was like, dude, how is that legal? How is that a thing in high school, and they get in trouble for shit like that in college? Like, how is that?
I mean, here's the thing: is perfect example, this whole Adidas, Nike, whatever the hell going on in college basketball. And I don't know if it's over with yet. I mean, just listen to the morning radio show, the local one here, CBS.
Yeah.
He says it's not. He says by the time it gets over with, you'll see some big time coaches out of the game. He said he named them off. And he said Roy Williams. He said Coach K. The guy Bill Self or whatever his name is at Kansas. A lot of these guys that were involved in the pay to play thing. Brian Bowen, supposed to go play at South Carolina, never stepped foot on the college court. Why? Because his dad, supposedly Brian Bowen, didn't understand that, that they gave him money. He didn't know, and I call BS. Hey, if somebody's gonna give my dad $250,000 for my talent, yo, pops, you owe me something.
Yeah, no shit.
You might have produced a little worm or a little fishy or whatever.
Don't do Michael Jackson me.
Right. So, I mean, I don't know.
Don't you get Michaeled. Are we passing notes in here? Man, y'all been doing this shit since high school.
Yeah. But no, it is. I mean, it's good. I mean, you just, I don't know. Maybe one day South Carolina will get that big booster or something in there that'll.
Too many cooks in the kitchen, man.
Too many cooks.
No, that's apparently, like, if really what they say is that schools that are in state capitals, you get too many people involved. You get politicians, especially if you're good. People, you get bandwagon jumpers. You get people that don't have anything to do with the program.
Yeah.
Other than like boosters and this and that. And then like at a school that's not in a state capital or really a big city that's just really a college town, you can control the media. See, state capitals, you have a nosy media. We're all supposed to, like Frank Martin was talking about, we're all supposed to be on the same side here. Aren't we on the same team? And then you had during, sports talk or whatever it is, they were debating, are we on the same team?
Yeah.
Like, are we part of one team? And Frank Martin was looking at it like, and then they were even saying, you have your fan sites, like the one that's operated actually by the school. Right. And of course, that's your like positive propaganda outlet.
Yeah.
But then they were even talking about on fans like, well, I'm an independent, blah, 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 blah. So where, that means I'm kind of like a watchdog, because anything that I could do to maybe even expose to make my name, I'm the one who blew the lid off of this, coaching scandal or this or that or one thing or another. That's the kind of shit that you have go down in state capitals. You have politicians who like want to have like a little say in the program. You have too many people, cooks in the kitchen. Tuscaloosa, Clemson. You have none of that. You have a local boondock media that you can keep at bay and just make happy about throwing tickets and this and that.
Yeah.
And do all the little things right.
Eli Gold ain't taking no damn money.
You could operate through a church. There's been lore about stuff like that.
Oh, that's what's Notre Dame's going on, right? And that what's going on up there, like the church.
I don't know. I'm just talking about like as far as distributing monies and things like that, and you can do things of that nature under the radar.
I've never really thought of that.
In state capitals, it's hard. Watchdog
wonder if that's
media
a-
and too many cooks.
I wonder if that's the deal with. Hey, I wonder if that's why the Jaguars are garbage.
Jaguars. Oh,
Is Jacksonville the capital of, or is it Tallahassee?
I think Tallahassee.
No, but that's
never
on.
mind, never mind.
That's
I know,
in
I know.
football. I mean, that's in
NFL.
NFL. We're
Yeah,
talking
I
about
was
like
just
college
curious.
because
Well, I'll tell you right now. I mean, you take a look. You say you get back to Dabo getting into people's homes and stuff. Look at Dan Mullen, man. What he's doing, recruit. He's
Yeah.
taking the pictures with he's got the kid and then he's got the dad all dressed out in the football uniform too. You know, I mean, it's just I don't know. I mean, there's got to be something.
salesmanship.
That's it. Something that's got to come along with it. Because I don't know. Because we sure the hell haven't been getting the recruits in Columbia. That's for sure. I mean, we got some talent there. I mean, you got Debo leaving this year. I mean, Edwards. He wasn't going to come to South Carolina whenever Spurrier left, and then first person that Muschamp went and visited whenever he got hired, Edwards, right out of Conway.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that I hope for is he does not have a explosive game in the Belk Bowl. Because if he has a big game, man, he's gonna get that big head, and guess what?
He gonna go.
He's gonna go. He's gonna be like a 6th-round
Why
pick.
wouldn't you do? Why wouldn't you?
But why? Your year this year, you didn't have a great. I mean, you're decent. I mean, you're mediocre, but you got much more to prove.
Giving you, but given the other option, you get to go and you say, okay, I've been playing this game my whole life so I can make it to the show. Like that's what I've been doing. And then all of a sudden you get the opportunity to go to the show. Are you going to take that opportunity, or are you going to go back to South Carolina and for another year? Was obviously going to be another rebuilding year. You're still even you said you got till 2023.
That's
what
what
Santa Claus told you.
Santa told me.
That's what Santa Claus tells you. Like you obviously got another few years before it's going to be even a possibility. So why do you hang around to do this rebuilding that you don't want to be a part of when you can automatically just all you wanted was your golden ticket. Once you get your ticket,
What's the base rookie contract?
Base rookie.
I don't know what I know. Baseball is like 500.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean. It's if
Well,
he can finish up the season, run a 4.5, have upper 30, like 8-inch vertical, rep to however many times. He's out of South Carolina, which is South Carolina. That's kind of baby's wide receiver U as well. I mean, we put out a bunch of wide receivers.
Right, but the thing that I ask is you take a look at Debo Samuels.
Yeah.
He didn't have to come back this year.
No.
He broke his leg against Kentucky last year.
Yeah.
Or did he have to because of that?
But he
prove
was,
himself.
That's what I'm saying right there. But
Yeah.
so that's why you
I
take
can see that.
you take a look at Edwards. I just don't think he's ready to make that jump. I mean, you can come back and play another year in college to try to improve your stats or whatever, or do you go and take that chance of going?
Or would you rather him come back and sandbag like Alshon did his last year? Alshon knew he was going to be. It was the same thing. Alshon knew that he was going to be like a top tier, one of the top wide receivers taken, and sandbagged his whole entire senior year.
But do you think Edwards is a top?
He's a big body wide receiver. I mean, it depends on what his combine is. Like if he could go out and bust out like a 4.4,
I don't know.
bust out 4.4 and have like a 40-inch vertical. Fuck yeah.
Well, I hope he has like 6 drop passes and only catches a pass for like 6 yards and then fumbles it. I mean, just saying, because you take a look at these other guys, Shy Smith, that plays receiver for us. I mean, I just don't think that. I don't think Edwards is ready. He hasn't. I mean, he can catch. He can go up and get balls. Don't get me wrong. I mean, but man, damn, did he drop a lot of balls this year?
Yeah.
Dropped a lot of balls. Man, Kentucky, God, I mean, I just remember balls being. And don't get me wrong, Bentley didn't help the situation either. Let me tell you, after the Kentucky game, dude, I was ready just to write Bentley off. But then after he got hurt at Missouri, he came back and he didn't play the Missouri game. That one kid did.
Kelly Bryant should have transferred to Carolina.
Yeah, now we got to face him. Got to play him next year.
Then he could have played
Yeah.
Clemson.
Missouri, man.
Why not, man?
Got Missouri. We got to play Missouri.
Kelly Bryant went to Missouri?
Yeah.
Yeah. He chose Missouri.
Over North Carolina, bastard.
See, Kelly Bryant, I think that everything that Kelly Bryant does now is going to leave a bad taste in everybody's mouth just because I could feel differently about this if Jalen hadn't have done what he did. But just seeing how Jalen did this whole situation right leaves a bad taste in my mouth for everything that Kelly Bryant did. Just because the next game.
He could have been. But let me ask you this question right here, okay? So, do you blame him for what he did or no?
I kind of do. I mean, I don't think that he thought this. I don't think he thought this process through like he should have.
Right.
I don't think he took into account all of the possible
It was his
situations.
last year. It's his last year. He would have sat the bench in 2020. In hindsight's 2020, looking in the rear view, did what's his name?
Sunshine, whatever.
Sunshine. What's his name?
Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence didn't get hurt. He did get hurt one game. Got a concussion or whatever happened, and then he was back the next game. So you would have got to play a half
Lost your eligibility.
and lost your eligibility.
You're done for your.
So
college
he
career.
quit this season right at the right time.
Right.
It was like if I played another second, if I play a second in the next game,
But you know
my
what?
college football career is finished.
I gotta give kudos to
Jalen.
Dabo.
Well,
Gotta give kudos to him because Dabo didn't have to tell him. Did
Yeah.
not have to tell him. I mean, Dabo could have made him dress out and say I'm starting Lawrence or whatever. Lawrence would have went out there. He got hurt. That's when what's his name came in and brought him back.
Yeah.
Or supposedly he was the miracle kid. But he didn't have to tell him. Dabo didn't have to tell him that he was not playing. I mean, he could have dressed him, and then Lawrence would have got hurt. He would have been in, and then he'd lost his eligibility.
well, that's the whole thing. Everybody was saying, and I don't want to keep going back to Jalen, but everybody kept saying that. Okay, well, Jalen, if he plays this game, then he will not be able to transfer. He'll have to finish out his career now.
But see, I think he's eligible to go somewhere else.
Yeah, now.
After this year, he's eligible. Even if he plays
Yeah.
in a championship game, he's still because I
Yeah.
think he's a red shirt senior this year or junior. I think he's a red shirt junior. So I think Hurst will not be at Alabama next year.
Well, I mean, I'm fine with that. The only thing is he is, but does a college not want to take a chance more so on Jalen than on Kelly Bryant just because of how the situation went down?
Right. Well, right. But I mean,
It's like at least we know this guy's going to stick it out.
all right. So take a look at who you have at Clemson. Okay, at
Yeah.
quarterback right now, you got Lawrence and you got Rice.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 5-star quarterbacks. All right.
Yeah.
So you take if Kelly Bryant didn't play another down this year, came back next year, he's going to be in the same boat.
Yeah.
If he would have stuck it out, didn't play another down for Clemson this year, and said, you know what, this is my team, this is where my heart at. I'm redshirting this year. I'll be back next year. Same boat, man. So you're gonna come back next year. You're gonna compete with 2 other quarterbacks that are better than you.
Yeah.
They are better. And it's just like listening to someone. I heard someone put on Facebook, I read something on Facebook that they're saying that, Nick Saban's got to make Hurst the starting quarterback for the playoffs. Nah.
I say that Hurt starts the Oklahoma game.
I don't mean.
Just to make sure that ankle's solid. We don't want to throw Tua out there. We need Tua to play.
His brother
again.
just signed, didn't he?
Yeah, his brother's Alabama for sure. We need Tua healthy for the championship game, considering we make it there. I think we give Jalen the ball against Oklahoma and find out how that works out. If it doesn't go well and Tua has to come in,
So you don't? Are you saying if you don't have to play Tua, don't play him?
yes,
But do you not think he'd come out a little rusty against? Whoever.
bro, he's had all season to sit on the bench and watch somebody else do his job better than he does it. He's got a fucking
I understand
he's got a message he wants to get out. I think.
Right.
And I believe that he's going to take every opportunity to make that statement
Fair
loudly.
enough. Fair enough. I just think that you've been off for a month.
Yeah,
You didn't.
Now that don't help. Now that is sort of why I think the whole maybe stretching out the playoff and expanding it a little more might make it better to where there's not so much stale downtime in between all the games you got. Like you sitting there, and I mean maybe if the teams at the top, they're still gonna have time to sit around and watch everybody else play where they're not staying healthy, but not healthy, but staying hot. But I believe that might help that situation out a little better, so that there's not so much downtime for them to not have football in the brain.
Who wins the national championship? Oh, he's gonna say Alabama, man.
I mean,
I will tell you this.
Clemson, dude.
I don't think Clemson, and I'm not gonna say that. Let me tell you what, man.
I think Clemson's gonna have a lot harder time with Notre Dame than Clemson fans are expected.
Just like Kelly says, man, y'all going ahead and give them motherfuckers the win. Y'all go ahead and watch it and see what happens.
That's right.
That's what he says. But here's the thing: Clemson cannot compete with a passing team. Did you see what Bentley did to
secondary.
Clemson? I mean, they just, unless they go get damn Rondé Barber or somebody and throw back there in the backfield.
Dude, Alabama really can't either, man. We're not that secondary ain't strong, man.
So are you telling me to take the over?
Dude, it's like what, 79?
I don't know, but the Oklahoma Alabama game,
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a shootout, and I don't know about the. It all depends on if Notre Dame can throw the ball. If they can throw it, quarterback's healthy, I'm gonna say your national championship this year is just going to be a repeat.
Okay, interesting. You want to keep the ball. Oklahoma has shit defense. Offense is explosive as hell. You want to keep the ball out. Then do you start Jalen? If you're going to have more of a run-oriented game.
Yeah. I think Jalen's more mobile than Tua.
But by far.
I mean, I think that's your. See,
if you want to keep the ball out of Oklahoma's offense's hands,
yes,
then just ground and pound their ass all the way to the end zone. If you're going to do that, you might as well use Jalen.
Yeah. I think so.
Keep them on their heels.
Not only that, like him, if you notice, like him and Jalen, Tua and Jalen spend a lot of time together. They're both in each other's ear. You know that neither one of them knows something the other one doesn't as far as how to game. I'm sure that they're both like, well, how do you do this? What do you do? They're all every single game. There's always a picture of both of them sitting next to each other, just like jawing each other. And like, I really believe that both of those kids are making each other a better player.
Right.
And I think that was apparent in Jalen coming out in that game and showing out the way that he did. I think that's obvious that both of these kids are making each other a better player. And I 100% believe that. And I think that, yeah, you got to start Jalen against Oklahoma. I think he's earned that. Dude, He made the Stone Man cry on national television, bro. Like he's earned that.
Right, but I go back to your national championship.
But I do want to, and this is if Clemson makes it past Notre Dame, if we make it past Oklahoma, I do want to see Tua and Trevor Lawrence go against each other. I want to see that game.
Well, I would love to see Oklahoma and Notre Dame in that national championship. Just something different.
Bro, as an Alabama fan, I can honestly, hand on the Bible, say that I would love to watch that game as well.
Did Jalen Hurts get a championship as a freshman? True freshman?
Yeah.
He did?
It was Jalen won. No, Jalen lost, then Jalen won. No, he lost the first one and then won the second one.
What was the last true freshman to get a championship? Jameis Winston.
Was he a freshman that year?
He was a freshman, I think, when they won the national championship.
Huh. Well, I thought they won the championship that year?
Yeah, I think Florida State won when Jameis Winston was was a freshman, I believe.
Is that right? Did Jameis Winston get a championship?
I do believe Winston did.
It was true freshman. I was trying to think who the last true freshman to get a national championship was. I think it was Jameis. You got the Heisman as well.
Well, I mean, Tua, he was a true freshman last year, right?
Yeah.
And he came in.
Was he a true freshman last year?
I'm pretty sure he was.
Because he's a sophomore last year, right? Tua, when they replaced him with Hurst, they replaced Tua. when they
Hurts
replaced
replaced-
Hurts.
yeah,
Yeah,
Hurts
last year.
was
I think he did. He was a true freshman.
Yeah.
But see, then there you go again. Getting back to the transfer thing, you take a look at the kid at Georgia.
Yeah.
Fields or whatever his name is. He's transferring because he says he don't want to. He's the same year as what's his name, and they're playing now. He don't want to sit behind him and wait for backup duty. Yeah, for Fromm. He wants to go somewhere where he knows that he can his talent can be used.
I can
Yeah.
play. I'm not
He
going
wants
to
to be
get any
properly-
shine sitting on the bench.
Exactly. He wants to be properly assessed. He
And
doesn't
all
want to.
they'd bring him in to run the ball.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Well, let's give the fine listeners some final thoughts before we wrap this whole bad bitch up. You got any final points you want to make on a few things, some picks? What you think the championship's going to be?
Probably Alabama. I hate to say it, but I am curious to see what freshmen will do in the national championship game.
Yeah,
Sunshine.
sunshine.
Because all we've heard about being in South Carolina is since that kid was a junior and basically committed, all we've heard about is, oh man, we've got the greatest quarterback in the world.
Yeah,
And it's kind of like, you might. They were showing his ball velocity speed. He was throwing using Jameis Winston as an
Well,
example.
60 yeah.
In the last, since they started measuring this, at the combine, basically clocking passes like they do fastballs. Jameis was 5th on the list at 55 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Number 1 on the list was 60. Homeboy was throwing during the Boston College game 66.
yeah.
His ball velocity is just off the charts. So I'm interested to see what he does.
But you know what sucks, man?
I want him to win.
Clemson is. I don't know if there's gonna be a. I don't know if there's a team that'll beat them next year. I mean, in the ACC.
No. Mm-mm. And Florida State's garbage now.
I think they got to go to Notre Dame next year. I think they played Notre Dame in 2019 at Notre Dame because it was an every other year type thing.
I'm glad it's a South Carolina team.
Huh?
Hey, I'm glad it's South Carolina team.
Listen, I told Reed, you ask Reed who his favorite college football team is, he'll tell you the Clemson Tigers. He's like, that's who I'm playing football for. It's like, buddy, you go right ahead. You get you a scholarship. I will wear a white shirt. I will not put on. I can't. I won't do it, man. I mean, and just for the simple fact
It's
is,
against everything I believe.
well, you got to let a kid have his own. Let him believe in whatever,
Yeah.
So I mean, that's fine, and that's cool. I don't know. My national championship, like I said, is Alabama, Clemson. I think Alabama will take it. Just one more little last thing. I know the Cowboys put up a donut.
I was just about to
Last
ask
weekend.
how y'all going to
It's
do in
fine.
the playoffs.
We're gonna make it. We're gonna run over to Tampa Bay tomorrow, and then we go up to New Jersey or New York, wherever the hell the Giants are next week. We're gonna beat them. We're gonna have to play first round. We're gonna win the first round. Cowboys are gonna win the first round playoff this year.
Is Dak your answer?
No, Dak's not the answer, but Dak is the answer when Zeke's running. Zeke is what makes
the answer.
Zeke is what makes Dak a quarterback when we can pass the ball.
All right, so who's your Super Bowl picks
My suit, man, I'm gonna tell you right now, dude. I just don't think
as of right now?
I don't think the Chiefs can do it because I don't think they're
Season enough?
I don't think their defense wins your championship.
Yeah.
And if you're playing against a team with a defense and it's got somewhat of a good offense, they're gonna stop you and they're gonna
for
win.
sure.
So I mean, I don't know. I think in the NFC, man, the Rams, and it's gonna be between the Rams and the Saints, man. The Rams and the Saints both, they look damn
Strong.
good.
The
And-
Bears.
The Bears.
I mean, the Bears. You're right, Bears. The Bears got a damn good deal. Let me tell you what,
Yeah.
Trubisky, man. Oh, my man can. He's gonna be there.
Yeah.
No, doesn't Carolina got someone with a Polish name coming in? Who's Carolina, South Carolina's quarterback that's coming in? Repack talks to him all the time. Apparently, he's supposed to be
Yeah, but I just don't see nobody taking
4 or
Bentley.
5 star.
Yeah, I just don't see nobody
Oh, well.
wanting a Bentley. Well,
Who's he got?
Who's your Super Bowl picks?
I'm just going with the Bears, man.
The Bears.
Hell with everyone else.
I'm gonna tell you, man. I mean, Chargers, they don't look bad. I mean, got the Steelers. Steelers got a big game this week, man. They took the
Gotta
Patriots
win.
down. They got the Saints
Gotta win.
in Orleans.
Gotta win. Saints are tough to beat right now, especially at home. But what you gonna do?
Right.
All right. Well, appreciate you being here, fellas. Brother Jason Summers, brother Asher Robinson. This is a good talk. We got about an
What am I
hour.
gonna do with football?
What am I doing all the footballs? What am I doing with all these hamburgers? No, I'll have to explain that when we get off here. All right. Well, all right. So I'm gonna get out of here. Audio.
from Midland.
I'm gonna get out of here. Audio. I'm gonna do a little intro here real quick, and then we're gonna get out. YouTube people, hang around to the end of the video so you can click all the links that I'm gonna put at the bottom of the page after it's done. But until then,
You from Midland? They
You
pay
from
you.
Midland? You from Midland? All right. Peace, bitches. Now let me do this intro here real quick. We're still hot and live, so just be aware. Hey guys, how you living? You doing well? Good. Glad to hear that. In this episode, Brother Jason, Brother Asher stopped by. You've heard them both in individual episodes of Sports Talk, so got them both on here together to talk about all kinds of bullshit, all sorts of good shit. But we talked about college football for the most part throughout this high school. Actually, we talked a pretty good bit about high school football too, and the bullshit, whatever have you. Just not gonna spoil anything for you. Just listen on, and you'll find out all the information that we talked about. So, I'm not gonna give you any spoilers. I will say, please go to the Facebook page, MI Stuff Podcast on Facebook. Like the Facebook page. Go to the Instagram page. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. Hit me up on Patreon if you think I'm doing something good enough to where you want to commit a dollar amount monthly. Do that on Patreon. Go to YouTube, Kelsey Hudgens on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel and click the little bell so you'll get notifications when we go live. If you want to be part of the Discord channel, I can hook you up with that so we can converse in between episodes. But other than that, that's all I got for you. I'm not going to bore you before we go any further. I'm going to go ahead and let you get straight to the content. But that being said, YouTubers, click the links at the bottom of the page. Do that. Click all the links that I put here for you. Click subscribe on all of them. I love you. I appreciate you. I'll see you next time. And without further ado, episode number 13 of Sports Talk. Peace, bitches. Enjoy.